Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Welcome. I'm Stephanie Maxwell Newton. I'm the editor of At Home in Arkansas. We're a monthly publication covering interior design and lifestyle stories all over the state. We've been in publication for 23 years, and we're here today with three interior designers who are members of the Interior Design Society Arkansas chapter. We've got Shayla Copas, Chris Goddard, and Lori Carpenter. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about IDS, and then we're going to get into a discussion about some of the challenges and opportunities during the pandemic that we're in right now, how it specifically affected the interior design industry. So I'm going to kick it over to Shayla first for an introduction, then she can hand off the mic.
Hey, I'm Shayla Copas. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. Right now we're drowning in the rain. I don't think it's made it to Northwest Arkansas yet, but yeah, I own a luxury interior design business in Little Rock, and I'm an entertaining author. Okay, so I'm going to let someone else take it now.
Cool. I'm Chris Goddard. I am in Northwest Arkansas, up in the Ozarks. I'm vice president of IDS, and this is our second year of having an Arkansas chapter. Thanks to Shayla for getting us all involved last year. And I have been doing interior design. This is my 35th year, which is exciting. And a little bit about IDS. Everybody always asks. It's a little more geared toward residential design, which I think is really a nice thing to belong to. I belong to ASID and IDS. And it's really wonderful to be part of both organizations because you get to meet so many wonderful people. I also love the fact that the networking that we get, and Shayla kind of really pulled me into this organization. And we, along with Lori, worked really hard to get it going. So we're always looking for new members to join. And then Lori, our current president, can probably tell you a little bit more as well. Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Carpenter, and I'm an interior designer and have been for over 20 years. And I'm in North Central Arkansas, and I help busy homeowners, whether it's their primary or secondary home, create a home that they love, entertaining family and friends. But I am in a rural area, a little town called Ash Flat, and we have we have a natural spring and golf courses and lakes, and a lot of people here have second homes. So I've started with a lot of them working with their second home, and then they pull me into their primary home all over the state. So it's kind of interesting, but I am currently the president of IDS, and again, Shayla got this started, and so she was president last year and I was vice president, so we just kind of rotate that. And I am president this year, and we are currently working on a website. And hopefully we'll have that up in the next month. And people can join there easily. But now, if you want to join IDS, you can join through the national office now. So I'll turn it over to, back to you, Stephanie.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to say too, if you're joining us from home, you are welcome to use the chat and add any other questions, and we'll take a look at those at the end. Let's just get started. Okay, because the pandemic has created a whole slew of different challenges for people in every industry. Because of some of the health guidelines and social distancing, people are staying home more than ever. Tell me about how some of your clients have responded to this. Are they reaching out to you to redo spaces, or are they glad that they had you redo some in the last couple of years?
So we're seeing on our end, our phones are ringing more than ever because people are sitting at their homes and they're looking at their homes more than they ever have. They're now working from home, which they didn't do before. So we're seeing a lot of home offices, as well as, media rooms again. Media rooms kind of stopped for a while, and now they're back up again. And we're also seeing a lot of workout rooms as well.
That makes sense because gyms are closed.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of, the first month or two, we were all a little scared because everybody was trying to navigate what was going on but as people were home more, they were wanting to invest more in their homes. So we're seeing clients that are calling wanting better quality because now they're using their furniture more. Seems like before you were home in the evenings and the morning, and during the daytime nobody was home. But now that people are home all day, they're kind of like wanting everything to be a little bit better quality, a little more comfort, which we're seeing a whole lot of clients wanting things to be really more comfort-based and more usable in the space, and more multi-function rooms, which has been really kind of fun, to kind of reinvent spaces we've designed before for school, for work, for exercise. But the biggest thing we're seeing is people are going back to more quality and comfort, instead of just kind of a showroom that you walk by, which is really kind of nice to see.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, and speaking of comfort, Chris, we're seeing comfort and quality. We're seeing a lot of our clients are wanting durability in their fabrics. So they may have a sofa recovered in a Sunbrella or in a Krypton because they know that they want to keep the sofa, but they want a fabric that's going to be more durable. And things are just kind of, they're realizing that they're going to wear out if they don't get that durability. So, you know, I hear what you're saying about how they're wanting comfort and they're wanting the durability right now.
And they also want things that are easy cleanable, which we get into with like Krypton and Sunbrella and things like that, especially if the kids are home all day. People are actually living in their homes again and entertaining at home. We're used to just going out so much that I found it really fascinating, the phone calls we've been getting now that the phones are blowing up again, thank goodness. But everybody is wanting, like Shayla said, durability, comfort, and quality. We're seeing really a return to living and entertaining at home and being at home more, which for a designer is wonderful in our business, because every designer I've talked to is slammed right now because people are reevaluating how they live, what they want to live with, and how they use their space.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing the same thing here. It is crazy, but wonderful too, because now people that were spending thousands of vacations are now spending it on their homes. I've had a lot of clients that have, yeah, exactly. They're wanting motorized window treatments. They're wanting more comfortable sofas and just more comfortable spaces. Inviting comfortable spaces is what we're doing more than anything now.
Y'all see this trend continuing into the coming years, people staying home more and really making use of these places they invested in?
Being in Northwest Arkansas, we were a little protected because of Walmart, J.B. Hunt, and Tyson. All these businesses had to keep working. So our portion of the state, oddly, didn't really shut down per se. Everybody just started working from home. So we started getting calls like, oh, Chris, that sofa that we've put off, is there any way to get it? Is there, because they're spending more and more time at home and doing a lot of commercial design. We've noticed that in offices, people are not wanting the big open plan anymore. Now we're going back to smaller workspaces that are more confined, that they can control. So we've seen a huge shift in our commercial work too, as far as the way people work. And I think most offices are planning on people spending a lot more time at home, mainly because it saves them money from the work, from the that side of it. And people are working better at home. So I have to have somewhere to go personally, because I can't function if I don't have a pattern of where I'm supposed to be every day. But so I've been in the office every day, but most of my team has stayed home and worked.
Yeah, well, that's good. Let's see, what about y'all mentioned some of the specific projects, like maybe home offices. I wanted you to touch on some more of that functionality in addition to fabrics or anything, but like, people are home and cooking more? Are you seeing like kitchen renovations or backyards where people want a screened-in porch or somewhere they can be by the pool?
I'm doing a big outdoor living space currently. That is the reason. It is their vacation home, but they wanted like the fireplace, the outdoor kitchen. And what was nice about that started about COVID. So you were able to social distance working on that design. So that's been very good for me, but I'm seeing a lot of outdoor living spaces. And yes, kitchen and bath remodels.
We're seeing that too, but kitchen and bath especially. We tried to get an appointment with a cabinet maker a couple months ago, and we were just able to get him over to one of our projects because they are so booked. They said this is going to be the best year that they've had in business since they've been in business. So, I mean, the design industry, it slowed down in some areas of the country, but I feel in Arkansas, it's just continued to grow through the pandemic.
Right.
The most fascinating thing I've noticed is the most unused room in the house is the dining room. Now has become the most used room. So I found that really fascinating because clients now are using their dining rooms that we used to just walk by and use at holidays, because that's where they're working from. That's where their kids are doing their homework from. That's where they're now having meals together. So I've seen a huge interest again in dining room spaces and eating spaces because it's multi-use. You can work, you can eat, you can socialize, you can study. Right. So that's kind of where we've seen a lot of people kind of looking back and thinking maybe we need to reevaluate our dining room area so it's more of a multi-use space.
Tell me a little bit about how y'all's day-to-day has changed. I mean, obviously there's some supply chain issues, social distancing, so you can't necessarily go check on a lot of your project sites in person. Installs, maybe you've got a project out of town you can't go travel to. Tell me a little bit about how that's changed in the last few months.
Well, I feel like we've spent a lot of time trying to get samples in. The sample rooms are so booked up. So when we're trying to get in the finished samples for the clients, the sample rooms are booked up because they don't have the same staff that they had before. So it's taking us a long time to get those samples in. We're also spending a lot of time, more time in project management than ever before. And then sometimes Megan, who's our senior designer on staff, she's worked from home a little bit. When we first started the pandemic, she was working from home because we just weren't sure how things were going to play out. And we were really social distancing around here. But now she's back in the office.
We've seen a lot of lags with manufacturing and receiving things. When this first started, nobody really knew, and so many towns had shut down and nobody was working, and we have our own workroom. So, and for us, we put all our workrooms into making masks, and we started using our fabric samples, and we were making 1,100 masks a day and shipping those out to hospitals and frontline until the mask kind of demand got caught up. And then we saw, as people started coming back to work, just the process of getting things done, receiving goods, merchandise, anything from overseas has been a nightmare. We're getting parts of things, not of all of things. So we're teaching our clients the word patience, which most people in luxury and high-end design have no concept of time or patience. So the biggest challenge for us has been working with our clients and saying, hey, you're going to get it. It's just going to take longer. And then managing our work sites. We've had a lot where we have one trade at a time, like only 2 plumbers in at a time, and then the cabinet guys will come in, or the floor guys, where it's usually everybody working as a team. We've really had to, like Shayla said, project management is key, and keeping everybody distance and apart, but keeping the project moving. It's just everything is 10 times slower than usual. So we've all had to kind of really sink into that rhythm of slowing down, which has been the biggest challenge for mainly our clients because they're not patient.
Well, and in the specification process, Chris, have you kind of felt like, okay, I need to really look to those vendors that I knew I could rely on before pandemic? I knew they would get me these products. And so, the ones that were just kind of a little bit where, well, we weren't sure that we could get things on time during pandemic, we're really relying on the ones that we knew before pandemic that they were going to make our time frames, and it's really been fruitful for us.
We've looked a lot to people that are stocking, that carry stock, like furniture manufacturers that have a lot of stock, which Made in America I think is wonderful. I've seen a resurgence of American goods, which I think is great for our economy and our workers, because a lot of the companies in North Carolina and those places have things in stock that we can get quickly, so we're not dependent on overseas as much, or fabric lines that have more bulk goods in stock. A lot of specialty items are taking longer to get unless they're made here in the States. But it's been good for artisans here locally. I mean, I'm relying more on our local artisans than ever. Where usually we do things from overseas or out of state. So it's been great in that. So we've had to rethink our business model because we're learning to work more locally instead of globally. So it's been great in that. But again, it's that whole patience thing that we're all having to work on.
Well, me being in a rural area, I have like my showroom, I have my fabric samples. So it hasn't really changed a lot for me because it's something I have always done. but it is taking longer to get things in. Normally, a custom sofa was taking anywhere from 30 days. Now, I'm looking at least 6 to 8 weeks. So it's really slowed down, but I have from the front end, I set that customer's expectation, telling them because of COVID, expect it to be slower, expect delays. But in the luxury, as you say, that sometimes it's really hard because they are so used to me getting things to them as, lickety split, but you're not doing that anymore.
Like Lori said, managing expectations is the biggest part of our job now. And keeping our supply chain, everybody happy and informed is really hard because people are missing parts. We're getting lights without back plates, there's parts of the supply chain that are missing. So just keeping your client informed, we found keeps there from being issues, and keeping your team informed. We have daily meetings now where we used to have weekly, just so everybody knows what's going on, because day to day, people may be at home, people may be in the office. So it's just our communication and the way we work. Every day our model's changing, which is great because we're all learning. So.
Yeah, I know for us at the magazine, it's really driven communication to the forefront. And I feel like it's probably that way across industries. As you're not in the office as much, things are slower, you've got to be patient. It's just communication is probably more important than it's ever been.
And for creative people like all of us, it's hard because we have to have constant stimulation. And when we're trapped somewhere in an office or a home, we start going crazy and climbing the walls because as creatives, we pull our inspiration from travel and people and all the different things we see. And for me, that's been the hardest. Is I'm usually gone 2 to 3 weeks a month traveling to site visits, and you can only get so much from what's around you. So we've learned to talk more in our office instead of everybody on their phones or their computers. So we're learning more about each other and learning, how to work as a team and a group better and be inspired by each other. So that's been really an up part of this for us.
This is a crew that likes to travel a lot. How have y'all dealt kind of personally with not getting to go on any trips, but also those trips where you get that inspiration for design or you pick up cool objects that might be perfect for a project? Where are you looking to for that inspiration now?
Shayla, you want to go?
Okay. Well,
I talk too much. So
it's hard, y'all, not traveling because y'all know I was gone about 90% of last year. And so just from going on book tour to coming home and just being a little homebody, kind of a little hermit, it's a whole different thing. But y'all, it's just taught me to be more resourceful because I was always like, the stimulation that Chris was talking about, things are always thrown at us all the time when we're traveling, when we're going to markets, we're just seeing things all the time and we're continually getting inspired. But now that I'm in my office 100% of the time now, it's taught me that I need to resource things in different ways than I was before, which was on the road and at markets. And we're dealing a lot with our reps coming to us now virtually and our showrooms coming to us now virtually, and that's really helpful. I think manufacturers are getting a lot better at marketing and bringing that product to the designers, which ends up in the consumer's hands. So I think we're going to see a big shift in marketing with the manufacturers.
Yeah,
I agree.
Being older, this is my 35th year, so I learned hand drawing and travel and finding things. So it's taught me how to source online a lot better, which thank goodness for all the young interns in my office, because I know sound like a parent saying thank God for the kids. But it's also taught me skills that I never knew I had, so I've learned to be more resourceful online, which has been great. And there's so many wonderful websites to go to for, furniture, antiques. If this had been 15 years ago, I don't know what we've done, because actually we had to go drive to places to go find the sources. So we're learning how to source new things, which I think is really wonderful. But the missing of the travel has been big. 2/3 of our business is out of state or out of the country. So we're learning to do a lot more like this, where we have Zoom meetings. A lot of my clients and contractors use their phone, and we'll walk through a project doing FaceTime, which is kind of interesting because all of us being creative, we want to be there to see. So we're having to see through technology. So that's been really fascinating and a new learning curve, which I think we're all going to come out of this a lot smarter and better designers because of it, because we're learning things and pushing our own boundaries of creativity.
Mhm. Your clients are going to feel even more connected to the spaces they're living in now because they walked you through it over and over again.
Well, they're actually having to think, they get the process. And so many of my clients want that voila moment, and now they're having to live in the middle of it. And I think they appreciate all we do as far as the minutia and project management, because they're actually having to do some of it, and we're having to educate them through the process.
Yeah.
So it's adding value to what we do as designers, and all my designer friends across the nation have kind of felt the same way. Like, wow, people get that we actually earn what we charge because they see how much work goes into it. It's just not fancy parties and travel and, you know, lady lunches. So I think that's been the best part of it, is everyone sees at home how much work we're actually putting into thought of how they live. Yeah.
Well, they're seeing the installations coming in phases, and before they would see it where we installed like in a 4 or 5 day period, and there it was. And like, you know, Chris said, they're seeing like all the work that goes into it because they're seeing it as it comes in, because it's not all coming in at one time anymore because of the pandemic. So, you know, if they're really wanting their bed and the dresser isn't in, then we're delivering the bed, where before we were getting it all into the receiver, into the warehouse, and then delivering it at one time. And they did get that aha moment, but they're not seeing that now. They're seeing all the different phases of the installation.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are doing. I had done that a bit anyway, because I do have trouble getting things in, but yeah, I have really worked it that way now. Is, you know, the husband's wanting this recliner, you know, so we, you know, if it comes on in, it goes up to the house, you know, so yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, it goes back to that lesson in patience for everyone, I'm sure.
Patience
Yes.
is the word of 2020.
Yes.
So, and it's hard because when a room's not done, clients are like, they can't see our vision, and being creative, we see it done. And again, we're having to do a lot more communicating on, okay, well, that's just part. We're not finished yet, because they're used to, it's done. And now they see one sofa chair or one, and they're not able to put together the whole vision in their head. So we do a lot of what I call talking off the ledge. I'm like, okay, it's all going to come together. We promise, you know, but
Yeah.
again, we're doing a lot more talking.
Good. That's a good segue into this. I'm thinking about younger designers or designers new in their career, or if this is kind of the first time they're being tested in this way. Do you have any tips for anyone going through this who's looking for advice and just how to deal right now?
That's a tough one.
I mean,
I know that was, you stump the designer. I think we're all learning at this point. You know, every day is a new day in how we're running our businesses. And what I found, like through organizations like IDS, is we have a network of people we can contact and go, hey, how are you dealing with this? You know, how are you dealing with this situation? How are you dealing with painters? You know, we're fortunate we have the university here, so we work with a lot of interns and students from the university. And, you know, they're all scared to death because design is so different than it was last semester. And being creative, it's hard to learn and do your projects at home because we're tactile. We want to touch everything. So we're all having to learn to do this and do presentations. We do a lot of Zoom presentations, but it's hard if you can't touch, feel, because everything we do involves all the senses. And, you know, right now we're just doing it all through the camera. So I think we're going to have better designers when this is over, because you're having to sell and educate a lot more. Whereas before we could just put out a bunch of swatches and a storyboard and clients got it. So you know, it's an education for everybody, I think.
that makes sense.
Well, and it goes back to patience. Like Chris was saying earlier, I think just saying to the younger designers that it is all about patience in this industry. And I think making sure that, especially the ones graduating from college, to work for another designer, that's so important. We had an intern this summer from the University of Arkansas, just working in a design firm that's like what you're wanting to go into in the future. So if you're wanting to go into commercial, then work for an architect. If you want to go into residential, then work for a firm like ours, and just get your feet wet and learn from other people in the industry.
A lot of the younger designers, they're studying, but their focus is on commercial design because that's what they're taught. So it's a rarity for us that do luxury residential design to have young students that want to come in and learn because they're not teaching what we do. It's more, everything's geared toward commercial design. So again, students now are learning that, wow, residential design, that's something I never thought about because it's a little more accessible. And again, being part of IDS, I'll keep promoting this, but it's based in residential design. So it's a great, I've been talking to a lot of the students to try and get them involved so they can learn, because we need residential designers and commercial designers, but a lot of the younger generation, everything's done on the computer and they want to draw door jambs and floor plans, but to have the experience of working in residential design and that relationship you build with clients is really important.
Yeah. And now that we're all in our homes so much, it
Yes.
just really highlights how important residential design is.
No, and it's kind of been lost, and we're seeing more and more interns contacting us wanting to learn more about residential design, which is exciting.
Yeah. Well, tell me about some of the silver linings or positive things that are keeping you positive during this. You know, we've touched on a few of the maybe things we've learned going through this, but what are some of the things keeping you all positive?
Just spending time with family. You know, with traveling so much last year, my husband and I didn't get a whole lot of time together, and trying new recipes, watching new Netflix shows, just doing things that we had never really done because we were moving so fast. If I was home, then we were headed to an event, or I was working on a project. And now I think, even though we have more business than ever, I'm realizing that it's good just to slow down sometimes a little bit and smell the roses and, you know, spend time together. You know, just because we're not traveling so much. I've even got friends flying in a couple days from out of state, other designers, because we can't get together at markets. So we're going to go ahead and meet up on my houseboat this holiday, because we weren't at market in spring. So it'll be fun to get to see them. But I think we've realized how important our friendships are and our families are.
Go ahead, Lori. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just like Shayla said, it's been a wonderful time to take a breath. And those of us that are out of the office so much now, my office wishes I was gone more because I've been here every day making them nuts. But being in the office more, and like I said, we're forcing ourselves to be a little more creative with limited resources. So this has been a wonderful time to kind of rediscover why we loved our jobs and to take a breath and really focus on details and the minutia that in our daily design lives we just kind of blow over. So we've had more time to focus on being better designers, better managers in our home life, better partners, so it's just been this wonderful breath of fresh air. And I think going forward, especially in our industry, everybody's focused on home and the way they live. So it's really put the spotlight on where you live and where you work. So as a residential and commercial designer, I think going forward, we're going to see some wonderful changes and a lot of positivity. So as horrible as it's been, I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to be really beautiful. So
I agree. I think we're going to see design totally different, and I think we're going to see a lot of things come out of this. Like Kraus has introduced a ultra clean sink that kills up to 99.9% of bacteria that touches the sink. And, you know, we had already been seeing the hand-free faucets, you know, just the motion and things like that. But I think I'm with you, Chris. I think we're going to see a lot of really good things coming out of this that has forced us to do things differently. It's forced us to pivot. Chris and I are older designers, but it has forced me to pivot in the way I do business. And I think it's for the good. I really think, as you said, we're going to be smarter, and we're going to be just better designers after this, because we will have learned things that I had no clue that was even out there. And so it has forced me to go inward and go online and really research things more than before. I was just touch, feel, and if it, you know, is eye candy, is beautiful, I went with it. Now I'm researching it more. You know, figuring out, you know, all the things that are out there, but probably another big word will be bacteria and antimicrobial, you know, things like that. That's going to be out there now. That is going to be new words that we're going to be looking for as designers.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the ways people are already innovating, and even just small businesses, how they're getting creative dealing with this. So from a manufacturing standpoint, innovating and making things safer for the homes and design, and then the things y'all are doing to innovate to keep your businesses going.
I think marketing wise, we're gonna see a lot of designers that didn't market before that are starting to spend this time learning how to market their businesses. Even with e-commerce, we didn't ever, we had decided we were going to have an e-commerce before the pandemic, but now we've gotten more serious about it. And because you're seeing that a lot of people are, you know, loving the luxury of just hopping online and buying gifts and buying things that they need. And so I think that the manufacturers are going to get more savvy online, and designers are going to get more savvy online too. I know a lot of designers right now that are redoing their websites. They've been taking this time to get a new brand refresh.
That's exactly what I'm doing now, is rebranding to Lori Carpenter Designs. So
and that's so smart. There's probably never been a time when so many people are headed to your websites to find out more about you. So now's the time to do that, it seems like.
Kind of fine tune what we're doing. And again, it's all about the details and learning about what we want to do and be better at it. So we've actually had time to look inward and think about how to be better designers, better people, better parts of society, and how we run our businesses. So it's been as horrible as it's been, there is a silver lining, like you said.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the you know, pandemic related or not, what are some of the trends y'all are looking forward to or excited about for the coming year? Anything out there already?
Shayla, you're the market queen. What you got?
Well, what do I have? Well, okay, so color-wise, I'm looking forward to 2022 is where I'm looking right now, and a lot of the color trends are going to be pretty bold. There's going to be some real rich colors that we're going to see coming up, and that's just really the community of people that have gone through what we've gone through in this last year in 2020. It's where we're it's hard to explain, but we had a group of people and we all got together and we were talking about what we thought the color trends, where they were going to head for 2022. And we all went back to pandemic, plus we went back to some political things that have happened recently. And we feel like people are speaking through color. So the colors are going to get just a little louder. There's still some subdued colors that they're projecting, but they're seeing a lot of richness in the tones that are getting ready to come up, especially in the blue palette, because of it lowering the blood pressure and just the feeling of blue and that kind of blue-green mixture. It's got a little bit of a muddy kind of mixture to it. It's not completely really bold, but it's rich. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it's named yet, but
color also makes people feel warm and safe. So we're seeing lots of people wanting color and things more cozy and lots more texture we're seeing. We're also seeing people kind of harkening back to a few antique pieces because they want something that reminds them of home or their childhood or a safer time. So we're seeing lots of comfort, cozy, and color, anything that's like nesting or makes you feel secure in your space. You know, and I'm kind of the king of color, so I'm all about it.
I understand, Chris. I understand.
So, I mean, and if people are doing neutrals, they want them to be really heavily textured, so it feels really soft and like it's almost like the room wraps itself around you and less cold and sterile. I mean, even in our modern projects, we're seeing people want really clean lines, but lots of texture, so it still has warmth to the space. And lots of natural elements that kind of bring the outdoors in. it's nice. I mean, I think the future is going to be colorful and natural and textural in the next couple of years.
They
I
like
agree.
those layers. They love the layers.
Yes, and lots of layers.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lori.
Yes. Oh, no, I just agree. I've noticed really comfort being an issue. You know, people, I just want it comfortable, especially my more end clients. That's what I say. I want this comfortable. I want it to be the textures and soft and just inviting. But that's what I'm getting more of since March. March especially.
Well, y'all all touched on how important project management has been right now for your teams. Are there any apps or kind of systems you're using to help you keep extra organized during all this?
Well, I've always used Trello as a great project management app that we use. Just started using Basecamp. Basecamp is amazing. With Basecamp, you can store all your documents. The whole team can stay in contact per project. So that would be an app that I would highly recommend.
Yeah, the one we have the best luck with, we use Trello a lot, and then we use the Ivy, which is amazing.
We have Ivy too.
The Ivy is the best thing that ever happened to interior design. It has simplified our projects and the way we work. And if you're a designer and have any size firm, it is the most wonderful program ever. And it's great for your clients. So again, look into the Ivy if you don't really have a program that you like for your firm.
Yeah, Ivy is amazing. We started with Ivy about 3 years ago, and it transformed my business.
Yes, it's done wonders for ours, and our clients love it because it's so self-explanatory. They get to see the options, they approve them. You can see everything happening in real time. It streamlines your billing, your hours. I mean, I think it's really a wonderful program.
I personally use my Doma Studio, and I like it very well. It integrates with everything as well.
Good. I just looked over at our Q&A chat. It looks like we've got a question. Is there anything in particular in your homes that you feel you've looked at every single day, but during this pandemic, it sheds a different light to your artistic eye?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
It's anonymous, so I can't give credit to who came up with it.
Well, in my house, I'm a collector. So, and I've done this so long that when I travel or from different projects and times, it's kind of fun to go back and reflect. I'm big on my home being a little more eclectic and kind of storytelling. So it's fun to actually have time in my home to go back and kind of look and remember like where I was when I got something or what was happening in my life at that time. So, you know, I'm big in rooms telling stories. So it's kind of nice to walk through the house and be re-inspired by something. I'm like, oh my God, I did that in the 80s. Or, oh my God, that reminds me of this really cool thing that we did in the 90s. So it's bringing back lots of wonderful memories, spending more time at home and kind of actually enjoying your surroundings because we're all so busy that, you know, just going room to room and kind of reacquainting yourself with things you've collected over time or things that bring back wonderful memories from your past. That's my favorite part of that.
Good.
I've been enjoying my kitchen. I've been spending a lot of time cooking in my kitchen and just enjoying being in there again. So I would say that's where I'm inspired the most is in the kitchen.
Good.
My pool is really what inspires me. You know, it's just relaxing. The bubblers, the things like that. The rest of my house, though, I think I'm kind of like a lot of my clients. Some of it I'm really tired of. And it was first time I've really had time to look at it and go, it's time to change some things. So I'm planning on doing a total kitchen remodel and some expansion, things like that. So I can kind of see where my clients are going once they spend some time in their home. But I think I get a lot of inspiration from outside, around my house, my pool area, outdoor living space. So yeah, that's where I'm feeling a lot of mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that question got me thinking, wondering if y'all find yourselves moving things around your house just for a change of scenery, kind of rearranging a little bit.
I think as designers,
organizing a lot.
Yeah.
And as designers, we use our homes to kind of experiment before we try stuff on other clients. So I'm always moving stuff around and playing with color and pattern and texture and rearranging. And I think, that's kind of where I experiment is home because nobody can see it. So
Yeah,
I do the same.
Yeah.
good test space.
It's a good test space, exactly.
That's good. Well, I don't see any other questions in our chat, and that's about, oh, I have another. Here we go. As the holidays approach, what are y'all predicting for holiday design? You think simple, over the top?
Over the top. I think people are going to be spending more money than ever on their homes around the holidays, and I think they're going to decorate it up to the max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think people have a lot of pin-up wanting to do and entertain and be around family, and hopefully by the holidays we're able to gather. So I see that, like Shayla said, it's either going to be maximalist, or because we're up in the Ozarks, I'm going to see a lot of our clients wanting us to pull things from the yard and nature. But again, everything in abundance, because I think we've all felt so confined that we want a little bit of opulence and a little over the top, whether it's, nature inspired or glitter inspired or whatever you're attracted to. I think it's going to be a more is more holiday, just in making our spaces feel a little more luxurious and comfortable.
I agree. I think it will be that way if the COVID dies down and families can get together as much as they would like, and entertaining family and friends. I think the entertaining part is going to be extremely special this year if, everything settles down.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to predict everyone wants to put up their trees right after Halloween, probably.
The day after Halloween.
I have put them up on Halloween.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else we haven't touched on that y'all want to talk about? Before I pass it over to Chris to tell us more about IDS.
I just want to thank you for hosting, Stephanie, and At Home in Arkansas. Thank you so much for doing.
Thank you so much for asking us to be a part of this. We love talking interior design, and it's so nice to see some friendly faces after, like we all said, being kind of confined to our homes for a while. It's nice to do something like this. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you as well.
And thanks to everyone who joined. And this is recorded, and we'll put it up so you can watch it. Before we hop off, though, I did want Chris to tell us a little bit about how you can join IDS if you're interested.
I believe they're going to put up a link on the screen, hopefully here in a minute, or you can go to the IDS national website. The Arkansas one we're still working on, but we should have one up. But there it is. It just came up. But we would love for everyone to join. Again, it's wonderful opportunities like this where we all get to share ideas as designers with an emphasis on residential design. It's the largest group in the nation for residential interior designers based in North Carolina. Yearly, we have these wonderful events where there's great speakers. They do the Interior Design Awards. Sadly, this year it was going to be in Chicago and we didn't get to have it. But the best part of it is all the people you meet and the experiences you get to have and the access to the insiders in the industry, especially if you go to market, if you go to High Point. IDS is located there. They're happy to kind of give you a helping hand because market can be overwhelming, especially if you go to High Point. But the best part of it is the people you meet. I mean, even in our own state, I mean, I didn't know Shayla, I didn't know Lori before we started this, and now we're all great friends. So it's just this wonderful community of designers that I think is super important. And remember that you can belong to multiple organizations. People are always like, well, I just have to pick one. And I think the more you're in, the more you learn and the more people you get to meet. So again, we would love for everybody to join. And it's not just for designers, it's for people in retail that have in the trade. If you sell furniture, it's for anybody that has anything to do with designers. We have artists, we have woodworkers, we have all kinds of people in IDS. So it's open to all people in the design trade. So we would love for you to join.
Great. Well, thank you. And thanks again, you three, for sharing your time and expertise. This has been so great and a lot of fun. And I appreciate it. Y'all stay dry.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Bye-bye.